So yeah, I was brought up in Cumbria in the north of England, and so it's mountains and shepherding communities. And I worked on farms when I was at school, and after I left school, and then so I wrote the script set there originally, and we tried to get it off the ground, but we struggled to get the finance, and then we had this opportunity to shoot in Ireland. So it was really important to feel that it was the authenticity was, that if we moved it there, that it felt like it belonged in that space. So myself and the producer went over, and we spent 2 weeks just traveling around Ireland, meeting different shepherds and farmers, and talking to them about the story and talking about the way that we saw the shepherding process, and it was exactly the same. And the conflicts that we were talking about, similar stories existed in those communities, so it felt like it was a perfect place to set the film. Originally, when I like bringing the narrative together, it was using the landscape as a location that I think I feel is underused. Then this idea of shepherding, and the parable of the Good Shepherd, and then around 2013 there was a spate of rustling in Cumbria and Derbyshire in England, where people were taking the hind legs off sheep and just letting them bleed out in fields. So gangs going around, because you can sell them, you can sell like an organic leg of lamb for like 40 quid, so two is 80 quid, and you don't have to deal with the rest of the sheep. It was really brutal and barbaric. So it was using that as a and then sort of expanding it into something which was a little bit more industrial. But yeah, like in sort of agricultural crime is huge in the UK at the moment. Lots of armed gangs stealing combine harvesters and tractors and all kinds.
Imagine someone coming after you in a tractor. I couldn't take them serious.
Be a slow getaway.
He'd be like, man.
It was, of course, it was scary, and like, trying to act in another language, and and still make it feel like you're not just saying words in another language, like have them mean something. But it's really sort of like academic, the approach for that. It's like I felt like I was like studying, for a test, like in school. So it's sort of tedious, but you sort of go through that, so then you can arrive on set and feel free and be able to play, really. So yeah, it was just some work.
You're doing a great job, by the way. I seen it last night, and yeah, you were amazing.
Oh, thanks, pal.
Honestly.
Is that the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, first time.
So just to give it a timeline, I think you got your Oscar nomination for Banshees while you were working on this. Is that
I did.
right?
That day was quite, the pressure, then getting that nomination and going back to set, being like, yeah, I gotta perform here now. Everyone's looking. But I remember that day. That was a lovely day. We were near the Sugarloaf Mountain.
Yeah, Sugarloaf.
Yeah, I always remember that. Well, I grew up in the city in Dublin, the inner city, so that world is far from me. But in Ireland and in a lot of rural places, there's always this less said mentality, and do you know what I mean? It's people don't vocalize it an awful lot. And with Jack, I just wanted to kind of portray, him trying to impress his father, and and some sort of confusion there as well, and just going through that kind of that stage in his life as well, where you're figuring yourself out and having to put on a front and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to convey all of that. A lot of it through, just the body language, and that's what Chris done quite well. Was he doesn't write a whole lot of dialogue for you, and I'm in favour of that, that animalistic approach, or a slight look here, or how you can say a lot without saying it. So.
Well, that made me really curious. When you guys have that confrontation over the two missing sheep in the beginning, and you're shoving him.
Yeah, it's sort of like the sheep thing. Like it's like the ram, like and I wanted to kind of mirror that thing. And it's all from behind as well, which was I love that. You don't get to see all of this, and it's like all of this, but you don't get to see it, and it's like it's just, you know, everyone wants to see it, by the way, I'm just saying.
You got paid good money for that.
You know, but it was like, I'm always, you know, Darren Aronofsky's movie, The Wrestler, I'm a big fan of that movie because it's always on the shoulders of Mickey Rourke, and, you know, how he can convey everything through the body. So I'm always trying to put that first before I even say anything.
No, I mean, the confrontations in you know, it's written, but my job is to create the environment. You know, they've got the script, and these guys are incredible physical performers. You know, so it's just setting the right tone and giving a safe space that they can go at each other, and they can find a way of like being physical with one another, and being in character. They're not worried about, you know, there's no consequences. You know, no one's going to get hurt, so they can push and you know, push and pull as much as they like. You know.
Oh, I mean, also with that scene, you know, me and Barry are in there with like a load of rams, you know, so it's hard. You can't really like choreograph the physicality because you're having to deal with, you know, they're like the other actors in the scene as well, you know, yeah. It's sort of like a lonely life, you know. He's sort of, especially in the beginning, you sort of see him doing his job, and he's just sort of out in the fields for you know, hours upon hours on the day with his dog and sheep. So, you know, I would assume after years of doing that, you know, you tend to sort of become like sort of a quiet man, you know, and you know, there's a lot of time to, I'm sure, sort of ruminate on, you know, past traumas and stuff, but it's you know, it's sort of a meditation in that way for me. So I think you know, it was nice to then have a few moments to sort of you know, let the steam out of those scenes. But if you sort of, you know, you keep a top on it for long enough, eventually something's going to explode, you know. And it's more gratifying when there's like a slow build to that kind of stuff.
Well, from a practical point of view, it's, you know, we've got the real sheep doing sheepy things, you know. And that was, you know, hard to 100 in the fields, you know. It's like 100, 110. We lost a couple here and there. It's not like they're still alive. They just like escaped and found like wandering around a few days later.
Start counting when you fall asleep.
It's like Pat's going back, and it doesn't know how many sheep he's got. And then we had two kind of sort of hero puppet sheep. One which was like a beanbag, one which Chris carries, and we sort of move around. And then one which is this kind of puppeteered animatronic. Which has got its legs cut off and it can move its ears, and VFX. So it was like we did a lot of embellishment to give it bellowing of its stomach and breath and life in its eyes. And then we had the sound is what I find the most sort of compelling, especially in the scene with Barry. You know, that's like we see so little, but we feel so much because it's the way that he plays it is so extraordinary.
Did you play that sound so that you could?
No, we didn't have it. They didn't make. We got one bleat in 5 weeks. The sheep didn't say a thing, so and it was really difficult to source it. So all the sounds in that massacre of the sheep dying is me lying on a sofa in Belgium with a microphone and just making sheep noises.
Yeah.
So you could get the sound
Like, is that you, Chris? Jesus. Fucking hell.
The voicemail.
Someone check on Chris. Making sheep noises around the hotel. Yeah, it was. I mean, for me, it was. You know, I got to handle them and really appreciate and respect them as well, because, you know, you have to really get physical with them. I've got a massive German Shepherd, and I'm always, you know, I'm physical with him and wherever. Like, he's a big dog, so it's sort of like that. But these can give you little butts and little, you know, and you really gotta hone them in. But for that cutting scene and the taking the legs off, I mean, yeah, it was. It's quite gruesome. We did have real sheep there, but we didn't, you know, cut their legs and whatever. But
it was really important that you know, for the audience to believe that these guys are shepherds is like they have to be comfortable around the animals. You know, if they have any fear, the animals respond. So and both we set out a full day for them to do shepherd training But they did it in like an hour. Both of them were so physical. They just were really confident with the animals. They worked it out. They saw what to do, and it was like an hour each.
And the resistance of it all, you know, the sheep going against you, or even the rams or whatever, it adds to it. You know, you don't want it to be easy. You want them to be like going against you. You know what I mean? But yeah.
My favorite bit was just working with that dog. Not my favorite bit of the whole movie, but I
thanks.
love, you know, that dog was probably my most favorite scene partner in the whole. But you know, but that, I mean, you know, it's on paper you're like, all right, this is like a scene that like Michael's walking with his dog and the sheep, and you're like, all right, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. And then you know, all of a sudden you start shooting it, and it's actually this massive, you know, beautiful, you know.
You could watch you for days. I really mean that after seeing it. You know, you could put Chris anywhere in Ireland there. I mean, you have that Irish look as well. Like, there's a lot of Irish that have this, you know, dark look. And
I questioned that at first.
No,
but,
honestly. I remember I showed you.
No,
you know,
I know, yeah.
The kind of Spanish influence and you know, stuff like that. But
That's sweet,
you could watch you all day in that backdrop.
Well, I mean vice versa.
I don't think so.
Yes.
No.
No, but it's true, you know, like it's, you know, I think they're, you know, Barry, like there's some actors where they don't, whether they have dialogue or not, you know, it's just like, it's compelling, you know, and it's, you know, I think Barry and I are like a little bit similar in terms of like behavior and like, you know, and sort of, there is a physicality to, you know, you can say a lot with gestures and your body, and it doesn't always have to be, you know, hitting home runs with dialogue, you know.
But the dog's your favorite.
But the dog is, I mean,
cool.
It was a good dog.
He didn't say anything.
I thought the dog was really great in the film, though,
no,
wasn't he?
No, he was. That was it. That was a really, you know, it was a lovely moment. Not a lovely moment, but it was a lovely scene when the dog was dying. Not it was lovely. You know what I'm saying? It was,
yeah, I know what you mean.
How do I say that without sounding like it was... You know, I should start barking.
Oh, congratulations, guys.
Cheers.
This was so much
Thank
fun
you.
having you in here. Thank you.